Well, hello there. This is Charlie at My Messy Fingers. Today we are going to play with the Sir Vagabond in Fantasy World collection. I will be working with two of the core design. There's 2 pads of 10 double-sided sheets. This is the 12 by 12 inch. And then the backgrounds in the fantasy world, which are also 12 by 12. So you'll want to pick up 2 each of these. And just as a forewarning, there will be some fairly large cutouts. If you've been following me, you know that I like to fussy cut, pop up and raise things up. The Griffin is one of them. But we are also going to be fussy cutting Sir Vagabond. I do believe that's Lady Vagabond, if my memory serves me right. And we're going to fussy cut out that rose, and we're going to also fussy cut him out. But don't do that yet, because I will be showing you how I did it so that you get the right cuts in there. But we'll be doing some good size fussy cutting. The album itself is going to measure 10 by 9. 10 by 9, and it's going to have a 2-inch spine, 2.5-inch spine. So there will be inside of it 3 pages. There is a build for this album. It is linked into this playlist. So if you want to go ahead and build this album or build an album of your own, that's going to be 10 by 9 with a 2.5-inch spine. This is what I have designed for the front. I did fussy cut out the Griffin, and I mounted him on a plethora of black foam pop-ups. I didn't want to use white because I didn't want to look through the sides and see white showing. This is going to be accented in black, so I did use black. If you want to use chipboard, you can, but I would encourage you to pre-paint it. I didn't have any paint, and I wasn't going to waste my ink on it. I am going to use Tim Holtz Distress Ink Black Soot. So if you want to go ahead and get those paints and inks and things done and get your chipboard done, then what I'm going to have you do very carefully, go in, and sometimes it helps to trace it out in pencil, but go in and fussy cut the Griffin. Now, I did not worry about all the swirls off of his head. Once you put this back in place, then they look like that they're already there. I am going to use this round piece. I am using this 3x3 cutout. And in the packet that I got, which you could get as well if you order the packet from Scrap and Create, she will include a lot of beautiful trinkets that can be used on this. And right off the bat, I'm using this double gear one here in the center. I'm using the large filigrees for the 2 corners. I have some chipboard floral that I'm going to be using, and then I'm going to kind of accent it off with a couple of the gears, and then there's this small little sun, and I'm going to, with glossy accents, mount it here on the front of that gear. Now the spine panel is a portion of the left side of this sheet. So if you put that on, and then it kind of continues in some of the design as it goes around. The back is going to be this. It's a 12 by 12. There's more blue on this side, but I wanted the heavy gears on the back. So I've trimmed this I've cut the right side of it off, and then I trimmed off the top. Now you'll notice that I'm backing this. There is a beautiful, as you can see, teal color, and there's some deeper teals in this. I have to tell you, it is probably the most colorful, beautiful collection I have ever worked with. Some of the images are just stunning. but there's a beautiful teal and dark teal, so I went to Joann's and I got a 2 sheets of 12 by 12. It's called Blue Calypso, and I cut off the end. I do believe this is basil. Basil 12 by 12, Blue Calypso, or match with any other color you want. I just want this to pop. It's going to be mounted on black, and when I put these on here, the paper loses its depth to me. So I like to back them onto a comparable piece of cardstock, and just enough to let the color shine through. So I don't have this on there very even, but you'll get the point here. Now the paper actually pops. It really stands out when you've got it backed with a complementing color. And there is a lot of it in here. In fact, if you will bear with me for just a second, we'll be cutting all these out, so if you want to pre-cut those, that's fine. Beautiful, beautiful images, and this paper has a sheen to it. It's just gorgeous. We'll fussy cut her out. When we fussy cut these big ones out, they're going to be fairly wide pages so as to not lose the impact of the images. This rose, this whole piece, and then you have the gargoyle over here with the gears, the gargoyle sitting down here. But look at these, the teals in this. Deep, deep teals. That's why I chose the teal. I thought it would work best because it is throughout the collection. Here's some more of those gorgeous. And then you get into this piece. I'm not sure how I'm going to attack this piece, simply because there are some very awesome elements. I love this. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attack that. And then we have the train. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that sheen. It's just got a shimmer almost to it. And then we have the train, Strange Travels. And then I've got to show you, I'm sorry, I'm kind of digressing here just a little bit, but I want to show you some of the backgrounds. I just struggled not to use some of this on the outside of the album. And then here is a gold piece. Again, this has such a beautiful sheen to it. Isn't this just gorgeous? I love that color combo. This is just outstanding. It just speaks to me. Oh, look at this. Every time I see this, both sides, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Here's another page with gears, the gargoyles. And then you've got the sepia type brown in here. And then more gears and structural. And then here's a page, that beautiful teal. Here's this page again. I'll be definitely doing something with it. And this, I wanted so bad to put this on the front, but I simply could not come up with a great combination that would allow me to use this and not cut into this. So I will probably be doing a split page with this, maybe. We'll see. And then we have this page, the reverse. They're just spectacular. More of the sepia, the teal, more of the structural buildings, which are going to be kind of fun to play with. More of the sepia. I'm sorry I digress there, but I am just absolutely amazed with the color palette that they put in. And I think his name is Antonio. And Antonis. I can't pronounce the last name, so I'm not going to try. Antonis. Absolutely stunning, stunning paper. So we are going to be playing, this is going to be your back, this is going to be a piece off the 12 by 12 here. Now, let me just say, it is a challenge when I fussy cut, so I don't expect it to be any less of a challenge for you. If you do not want to fussy cut these images out, don't. Go ahead, and if you prefer them be flat, go ahead. If you want to go to the additional expense, buy an extra pad so that you can easily get in and just ruin it and cut these out if that's what you want to do. But I love to raise things up. I love to give the albums an element of depth so that when someone picks it up and looks at it, there's a wow factor. So that's why I do an abundance of this. I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to put my little trinkets aside, and I am going to mount everything first before I add the covers, add these to the cover. All right, so first things first, I want to get, I'm going to tape the top portion, because by the time I get down here and I fussy glue in and around this, the glue up here is dry. So I am going to start with some 1/4 inch tape, and then I'm going to come down here and fussy glue, there we go, fussy glue around the griffin image. So I'm going to come right about here. I want this to be down against the cardstock. I don't want it popping up and creating a bubble underneath, in particular the griffin. I want it all fairly stable. Now I'll add glue here on these ends because it's going to be smaller pieces. Okay, now I'm using my art glitter glue for this. It is going to dry fairly quickly, so I want to make sure that I get this done just as quickly as I can. I'm going to frame it in first. And then I'm going to come in up, and I'm going to frame around all the spots where I cut it out, because I want those to lay flat. I don't want these popping up. Okay, now 10. I'm going to grab it kind of by the bottom because I want to place it here up on the top. I want to eyeball where I think that it should be and let it down. What I'm trying to do is get an even edge here with the teal. Now, before this does anything silly and crazy, like seal this up and I can't get in there, I'm going to take the tape out. It's already starting. I should have pulled these off first. Oh, I just really totally made a mistake here. Okay. I sneak in here. Oh, look at this. I'll be able to. There we go. Wow, Saved by the Bell. Now before this glue dries, I want to get this down onto the cardstock. Get this all in there. It took me a while to fussy cut this, so I will share that with you. It took me a while, and I love to fussy cut. Okay, so now I am going to tediously remove all the stickers off the foam pieces. So while I'm doing this, if you haven't fussy cut or you don't want to fussy cut, go ahead and ink your page. Like I said, I'm using Tim Holtz Black Soot. Boy, these are not coming off here very easily. I would be done with a competitor's brand. I hate to say that. God, good grief. But I wanted black, and this was all that was available in black when I placed the order. While I am doing this, instead of you sitting there watching the video with no action going on, I apologize. I did not realize that these were going to be that difficult to take the, maybe it would have been worth the drive down to Michael's and get some black paint and paint pieces of leftover chipboard. Now, I did mount this Griffin after I fussy cut him out. I did mount him on a real thin piece of, it's not, I don't know, it's a cereal box. It was real thin, and it had this gray on the inside, so I wasn't getting competition from the outside of the box. But those cereal boxes make for great resources when you want to add a little bit of sturdiness. You don't want chipboard sturdy, but you want some sturdiness to it, like I needed it here on the wings in particular. But by the time I cut just the wings out, I might as well cover the whole thing. So that's what I did. Like I said, it was a real thin cereal box. And I just glued the whole Griffin right onto it. And this is ridiculous. And I don't think the picker's going to get in here any easier, but I'm going to give it a try. But you might want to hold on to some of your cereal boxes. One big one, I eat Cheerios a lot, so my Cheerios box. But one would last you, depending upon how big your images are, one would last you for quite a while. But it does work great when you're trying to get those smaller elements to have a little bit of a layer of sturdiness to them. I think I kind of found the trick a little too late. Pick that up, use the picker to hold it down, peel it off. I think I'm going to look for some different black pop-ups. I'm not using these again, at least not when I'm doing a video. and I just so apologize. I had no idea. I don't have any funny stories to tell. I don't have any appropriate joke. Oh gosh, I don't know any jokes. I've been so far out of the joke theme element for so many years. Used to get lots of jokes at work. Come on, I'm so close. This is just not. You know, I've had black pop-ups before. And this is the brand. These are small ones. But this is the brand that I use. But they didn't have them in the big size. They were completely out. So I got a different brand. And my gosh, if they could come in and watch this and see what's involved, maybe they would change how they do this, because the other company has got it down tight. Because this is just absolutely obnoxious. Oh, I'm almost there. I hope you went and got a cup of coffee, made a sandwich, heated up a thing of soup, returned messages, or simply fast forward through the video to where I finally pulled the last one. Ridiculous. I won't use those again. Okay, now, here's my outline. It is glued down, and I am simply going to, I'm going to start with predominantly the tail because it is the smallest piece that I want to make sure it's in there right. And then I'm going to adjust the rest of the griffin to sit in his spot. So then what you have, I don't know if you can see it looking down this way, but you can see that there is a raised up element. And I'm going to have to cut, but I'll do it off camera. I need to cut a piece to pull this back down there. Let me clean up my mess here. Okay. Now, I'm going to set the filigrees because they're going to take a little bit to adhere. I am using glossy accents. I'm going to put them here on my corners, and then I'm going to hold them in place with paper clamps. The metal doesn't always come flat, so it's tweaked a tad bit. So I'm going to put my glue, if it comes out. Come on. I am just not off to a good start this morning. You know it's morning for me now. It could be evening, it could be midnight for you. There we go. No sense in putting it all over the whole thing. There's just certain points where I want it so that it will stay down. And we come in close to about 1/4 of an inch off the top. I'm going to clamp it in particular these end corners here. Press that down. And then get a couple more for the next one. Try and get that center. It's got a bigger spread on it of the filigree. Come in here roughly about the same distance. I'll give that just a second for all of that to settle in. And now I'm going to, oh, if there was another piece, I want to glossy accent this sun into the center of this big gear. I'm going to put the glue on the back of the sun all the way around the ring, and then I will put it on there. And I'm putting the spot that has the place to put a string through to tie it, I'm putting that along here so that it kind of blends in a little bit better. Now we're going to set this off aside for the moment to let that do its thing. This piece is going to go on here like so. Now I mounted this. I've got 2 foam squares here, but I noticed that when I put it on this, it was doing this business. So I put a piece of extra black cardstock in between over the 2 of them so that I had that little extra coverage for leveling it out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this. Put it in place. Now I put these on a die cut machine that I have so that I could cut the circles. I had this is 3 3/4 of an inch across. And then this double gear is going to go right here. So I'm gonna, oh, hello. How did I do that? Now this is the good stuff, except I used 1 12 by 1 small one for the, okay. Put this in there. And then I'm going to use glossy accents again. Get down there. And I'm going to glue the entire framework on this, and I'm going to put it right there in the center. And I just noticed something. I'm such a ding-a-ling. I didn't put any glue on the back of this for it to stay down. I fixed the height problem, but I forgot I was going to need to put some glue on that. There we go. Goodness sakes. Now in the die cuts, and I'm going to quickly reach for it, there is a, if you get the bag of chipboard die cuts, there is a butterfly that matches that image right there. Let me get this out over here. So, no, those are the ephemera. So what I'm playing with are the die cuts, and they are really outstanding. But in there was a butterfly that matched this right here. So I'm going to quickly ink the outside because it's white, and I don't want white. It shows up when you're dealing with dark colors. It just really pops. So I want to cover this in black as best I can to at least dull the appearance of the white that's on there. And then I will glue it in place. Got that in there. I think these are probably pretty well set now. And this is nicely set. So then I took out of the die cuts these beautiful, pretty little flowers, and I am just simply going to glue this down. And I had to kind of play with how I wanted it to go, because then there's this gear that's going to sit right in there. So you can place this gear however you want. I'm using the large one there and the small one up in the corner of this flower right here. And I set my glue bottle upside down. Well, it's coming out. Okay. And I'm going to just tuck that right there underneath his tail. And then I'm going to glue, come on out, the framework on this gear, making sure my sun is right side up, and down that goes. And I look like I still have some lifting. No, it's just the way that foam pop-up is acting. Okay, so there's my front. If you wanted to, if you didn't use the sun, you could put the sun right here. If you didn't use the gears, you could put it right here. This little bag just came with all kinds of trinkets. Here's small corner filigrees, Statue of Liberty, that's what that looks like. Here's a sun, a rose, a book. There's a clock, and here's a train. I just love that. I think that's just adorable. I think this would be too big. Well, maybe not, but I think now as big as it is, it really starts to junk up the front of it. Makes it look like I've got too much brass going on there. So I'm going to hold off on that. And now we're going to put this in the album. And this will all get taped down. What a mess, what a mess. Because you want this on that album. You do not want it lifting. So I am going to use 1/2" tape around the edges. And then I'll use 1/4" tape down the center. Once we got past me pulling off those backing, we're moving right along now. And then my 1/4" tape, which looks like I'm going to run out of. Okay, 3 strips down the middle. I'm going to flatten this out. And what I'm going to be paying attention to is, as best as I can see at this angle, the top, the bottom, and the side. I'm not going to pay attention to my left because that's where the spine closes, so this is going to have a bigger presence right now, and that's not what I want to be focusing on. I want to be focusing on where I need to be on all the sides for the placement of this. Okay, so I'm going to pay attention to my bottom toward me, my right hand side. My dry visual placement gave me a pretty good idea what I'm looking at, and I should be okay up there at the top. Now this is going to be a bit of a challenge to get in and burnish some of this tape that's there, but I will get her done. That's one of the drawbacks of building it first before you put it down, but I wanted, with all the elements that are on this, want to be able to do it without messing with the size of the album. Come on. Now burnish the outside edge really, really good. You should be able to get to all of it. Okay. That's our outside album. And I don't know if you can really see it or appreciate it, but putting this teal on here to me just really allowed this paper and the composition of this paper to stand out. If it had just been the paper on the black, I think it would have been lost, but that's just my visual eye. So I am going to quickly ink the piece that's going to go on the spine. Again, it's black soot distress ink. Use whatever ink you have in stock, or don't ink. I prefer to ink. Don't want that white to catch somebody's eye and they go, oh, why is there white here on the edge? I don't want that. I think it's distracting. And it's one of those finishing touches that another crafter would appreciate. It's like taking your car to a detail shop and that detailer did something extra that nobody else did, and you appreciate their work and you go back to them. I will glue this because it's not much of a base. And then I'm going to stand up to put this on. So I apologize, I just got close to the camera. But I want to be able to put it on this way. Okay, top to bottom. Center it as best as I can. Pull this down a little bit. Make sure that I've got equal sides. And now I will flatten it out and burnish. Okay. Now this will be a lot easier to put on. I'm still going to mount it onto the cardstock first. And then put the cardstock down on the album. Gears on this side. Put this up out of the way a little bit. There's a lot here. I'm going to use some 1/4-inch tape, but I can see I'm about to run out. So let me grab a spool. I just got a shipment in. Where in the world is my, there it is. I need to get in the habit of checking my tape supply before I start a video, because I think that creakling sound of paper is kind of distracting. Ouch. And I'm not using my fingertip. And I know you don't want to listen to it, so my apologies. Oh, wow, there was more tape on that than I expected. Let's see how far I get with this. Right there is the end of the roll. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do a dry fit real quick. Pretty even, and you know what, that looks so good. I don't really want to move the paper, so I'm going to try this. I'm probably going to regret it. Oh, perfect. Now I'll just come in here and pull these two center pieces off. And then burnish those down, and then I will take off the rest. pick her and I have conversations every once in a while. It doesn't want to do what I want it to do. Okay, burnish her down. I just think that's so pretty. Okay, now we are going to now add some tape to this. I'm going to use 3/8 because it's a pretty large piece. And I'm just going to go around the edge. And then I'm going to go 3 down the middle. So if you want to go ahead and get going on yours. And I know that inevitably someone's going to ask, everything I do is cut to fit. Everyone has a different idea of how they want their layout to look in the end. So I like these thinner edges. Somebody else might like a bigger edge, so cut to what you want to see. But everything I do is cut to fit. I place it down and get the look I want, and then I make my tick marks, and I cut. I'll cut these ends off here in a minute. I want to get this down. Little bit right there. Okay. Let's take our middle off. And then once again, I'm going to look here. I'm not going to worry about how it lines up here. I'm going to look here for my placement before I press it down. Make sure I've got it. Okay, I think that does it. With the exception, I need to go in and secure this. I think we are in pretty good shape on this. Everything is glued down. We got her back. And there we go. I hope to see you on video 2.